I am here with Alan King Reese, my friend. This is the first episode of the Black Pill. We are black pilling each other today because we're going to step into King Reese's world because he pays more attention than I do because he was educating me on Puff Daddy. So let's talk about who Puff Daddy is.
Okay.
And
He's a Mongol.
already? A mogul.
A mogul.
A
Sorry.
mogul. A mogul. It's okay.
But he said it
You
like
corrected me. I said reliable before. I used liability, right?
yeah. I just called him that because that's what he said. Well, yeah. So
he's worth $1 billion.
Right. I think honestly, he has always been in a corrupt system since he was in college, you know, having his first record label. I don't know. Hey, I've been in college. Ain't nobody giving you just studios for free, you know, without some, you know, equal exchange. We all know what that is. So my thing is that even though he is a corrupt man, that's what he was taught. That's what he learned from everything going on. So I'm not surprised, but we're going to be seeing some more people go down as well. Maybe not as high up as you think, because you can't. There's always a ceiling. You cannot hit past that ceiling.
I'll say this right now as we get into this whole situation. Puff Daddy cannot rat on anybody. He's at a point where the people above him are like, you either go away or that's it. And I don't know if they've made the decision for him to go away.
Right.
Maybe he's too much of a liability at this point. We'll unpack that. You're into hip hop, right? Is that your music? That's your main music of choice? Like, that's my favorite.
No, actually, I'm a musician.
You're music. What do you play?
I play the guitar. I play the piano. I'm a songwriter. I actually make music.
Who's some of your favorite artists?
To be honest with you, I don't like to ride anybody's coattail. I like to be my own person. But if I had to say, it'll be a good friend.
Love it.
It'd be a good friend of mine that I believe is very top, and his name is Jermaine. He's a singer. Please go check him out. I'll share his Instagram later, but I love J. Cole because he speaks conscious rap.
All right. J. Cole's tied to some shit too as well. He's got a video out there that a lot of globalists, Illuminati, you all know the video I'm talking about. There were some symbols on some of his videos before, and a lot of people are like, no, not J. Cole. So there's kind of this kind of question is like, that is just producers slipping shit in, or is J. Cole part of this society of,
I'm gonna tell you and to be in that type of class, and that's like the upper 1%, right? You have to understand the lane you're stepping in and the choices that you're going to be decision, because they always say God doesn't just bless you, the devil blesses you too. Once you step in this lane, it's kind of like, well, you're locked in. All you can do is really make the best of a bad situation. So with J. Cole, I at least like that the music he puts out to our youth and people are not talking about drugs, violence, and killing each other. It's more of like conscious and have you thinking about yourself and what you want to do with your life. Inspirational.
He just did a free flow not too long ago, right? That really went pretty popular, J. Cole. So J. Cole is one of the guys. All right, so let me tell you who my guys are. Right now, Prof out there, PROF, Prof. Have you heard of him? Minnesota label, white dude. Probably one of the most talented dudes out there right now. I'm talking is about to blow up. Has better skills than most people. Better skills than Eminem at one point. Better skills, I think, different than Biggie's and stuff. Like, it's a little crazy and stuff. But I was a Biggie Smalls guy, right? For me, Biggie Smalls, I like Tupac a little bit. I mean, when you did stuff with the Digital Underground, when he was
I'm a Tupac guy.
See, I was a Biggie Smalls guy, but I'll tell you why. It was nothing about East Coast, West Coast, even though I was living on the East Coast at the time when he came out. For me, Biggie was a big guy, a fat guy, and I was chubby in high school and stuff like that. And he gave me this belief that if the way you think about yourself, people will perceive you. So it really opened me up to talk to girls, talk to other people, get them to say. And as I learned that the way I wanted to be perceived, people would perceive you. That's what Biggie taught me. He gave me confidence to do so, and that's why I loved him. Plus, I just loved his style. And even though he didn't have many albums,
he's got some bangers and some history.
Every song's a banger for Biggie. That's the thing. Tupac.
Wait a minute. I wouldn't say that. He does have a lyric in one of his songs. Go ahead.
Get into it.
Listen. I mean this with no disrespect. This is Biggie's lyrics. RIP to a great one. girl, you look so good. I suck on your daddy's dick.
Mhm.
Listen, when I heard that verse, I stopped the music and I had to really think, have I ever been in love? And I realized I've never been, because I will never do that. I don't care how fine you, I don't care if you're Beyonce or who you are. That's just way beyond. It's just
I hear
out
you.
there.
I mean, that's
so goes back to Diddy,
yeah.
and I'm not surprised.
But all right. So let's talk about Diddy. All right. So now you knew a lot about stuff that was going on. That stuff that was going on more in the mainstream. Cat Williams saying some stuff.
Right.
50 Cent.
Because Diddy liked the party.
Like hell, Usher, the whole Usher going living with him. We see from the Howard Stern interview where Usher talked about living with P. Diddy or Puff Daddy or Sean Puffy Combs. He lived with him when he was like 13, 14 years old for a whole year.
Right.
And that shit is kind of crazy. And, there's all these allegations. So basically, I brought a video real quick. Let's get this up. This is the Destiny video. And the reason why I brought the Destiny video is I'm on a point where I don't want to show any of Destiny stuff. You don't know who Destiny is. Destiny is a guy who is a Twitcher, who is a gamer, and he got a big audience, and then he's kind of transitioned over into politics. But this guy, to me, I'm going to just tell you my personal feelings about him. He's just like one of those guys who will say whatever to get attention. He doesn't care, so he'll take a position. He's a true contrarian, meaning he'll just argue for the sake of arguing, right?
Like Donald Trump.
And he doesn't have a lot of knowledge. You'll see this guy. But the whole thing is Candace Owens, right?
Right.
So the way media works, independent podcasting, mainstream, they've kind of like, they're in this area where the mainstream people don't talk to the independent people, of course, but all people like Candace Owens, Joe Rogan, they talk to Russell Brand. They talk to people in the independent field that get a lot of views. Right. In other words, Jimmy Dore, who I used to do a show, has been on Joe Rogan. He's been on Russell Brand. He just did a show with Alex Jones. So they'll talk and stuff like that. Candace went on the show with this guy, Destiny, because she doesn't know. Because once again, you have, and I didn't explain this clearly, there's a left and a right. Right. So Candace Owens is more of a conservative. She's in the conservative bubble. She knows all those people. Where I was in the leftist bubble. I was once a Democrat. So we're more leftist. So we know about our own clans. Destiny is considered to be a Democrat or a leftist. But they've been so co-opted and so brainwashed that we don't even consider them to be left anymore. We use the term shit lib. Like, he's a liberal, but he's a shit lib. He goes along with the mainstream propaganda conspiracy stuff. He'll speak from a Democratic establishment point of view. Right. So to me, I think he's just one of those people that will say whatever the fuck he wants to say to build a crowd. And we're part of, just recently, this guy Destiny got some debates with some big names. Right. And people are like, why did this guy platform this motherfucker? This dude is not a leftist. He's full of shit. There's another guy named Vosh out there. We feel the same way. They'll just repeat CIA fucking talking points and whatnot. But Candace doesn't know that. So Candace looks at him as like, hey, he's a leftist. He's got a big audience. I'll go on his show. We'll talk like human beings. So she doesn't know that kind of perspective about that. Right. However, like Candace would share her perspective about Ben Shapiro. You probably don't know him. Louder with Crowder and talk about that. So I wouldn't know about that shows because I don't listen to those shows too often. But Candace knows those people, and she would expose those shows. So she doesn't really know better that this guy is a idiot, right? What's that? Destiny on Puff Daddy. Okay. This is Candace on Puff Daddy on Destiny's show. So Destiny asked Candace, hey, what's going on with Puff Daddy? And we're going to give the Candace breakdown of what's going on with Puff Daddy, and I want you to elaborate on what she has to say. I specifically brought the video with Destiny because I normally wouldn't platform this guy. I don't want to talk about this guy. This guy's an idiot, Destiny. Really, like, he's one of those guys like, what a fucking chump. Like, he's just a chump. However,
I see you don't like him.
Well, I'm platforming him now, and I shouldn't be platforming him because, like I said, he went on a debate with this guy, Norman Finkelstein, about Israel-Gaza, and Norman Finkelstein abused him. Like, have some humility. You sound like a perfect idiot. He just schooled this dude, Destiny. And we have said, stop with this guy, Destiny, people. Stop putting this dude on. But I wanted you to see who Destiny was. And this is Candace Owens explaining on Destiny's show, just a little small clip on Puff Daddy. So we're going to watch it in the audience. Guys, if you got any opinions, got anything you want to say to King Reese, we're going to get his perspective on it. He knows a little bit more about the whole Puff Daddy situation. He was educating me on it. So let's listen to Candace Owens, and then we'll get King Reese's perspective right when we come back. Take a listen to this. Let's go full screen on this if we can.
What can you catch us up on the P. Diddy lawsuit? I haven't been in this area as much.
Are you kidding?
My mind has been, I've done Israel Palestine for the last 4 years or 4 months, and then like a whole bunch of red pill stuff before that. So my mind is not.
So in case you guys have not seen it, you can go over to my YouTube channel. I've been covering it, and if you're there, definitely subscribe. But so essentially at the end of last year, Diddy was dating that girl Cassie for a long time, about 10 years.
Okay.
And she started making allegations that Diddy was very into some very sexually deviant things, what I would say.
Okay.
And forced her to do a lot of things against her will, or drugs, whatever. She files this lawsuit, and basically overnight, I'm obviously being a bit hyperbolic, but he pays her off. So it ends. And then Cat Williams kind of alludes to the fact that more stuff is going to come out in 2024. And then a producer whose name is Rodney drops a lawsuit, and he alleges to have, hundreds of hours of footage backing up his claims. And in the lawsuit, he actually dropped pictures. So it wasn't just this, because you can always have a frivolous lawsuit. It can mean nothing. And what essentially his lawsuit suggests, allegedly, just for protection here, is that there's a blackmail ring in Hollywood. Diddy is a gangster. On top of Diddy sits Lucian Grange, who is the CEO of Universal Music Group. And this was, for me, one of the wildest parts. He tells a story about one night where Diddy got mad at somebody and just shot them in like the stomach and the hip. He shows the pictures of the blood all around the bathroom because he was right there when the person got shot, and he allegedly went to his knees and tried to help the person. It was Diddy and his son who allegedly shot him. But they said that there's one person that you call when something like that happens, and that guy's name is like Fahim something, and he will come clean it up. The LAPD will write a fake police report, and he shows like how the news then reported that the shooting happened outside, and then it got wiped under the rug. And what's interesting is that guy who you call, the security guy, was the same security person who was one of only 2 people there when Michael Jackson died. So it's now reopened, all the Michael Jackson stuff. Super interesting. A lot of stuff that I would say, a lot of proof presented in these documents. Like I said, there's a lot of photos included. And if what he is spelling out is correct, then it's basically a homosexual ring that works by blackmails. They host these, what he calls freak offs, and they drug people and they get them to sleep with a minor or do something, that you wouldn't want publicized. And then they own you, right? Because it's like, well, we have you on camera doing this, and so you're going to say or do whatever I want. So very much like the Jeffrey Epstein stuff.
Gotcha. Are these in indictments, or are these just like affidavits or statements to the media? Is any of this stuff like gone to court yet?
It's the lawsuit that he filed. So we're reading the lawsuit documents directly.
This is a civil lawsuit, I'm guessing?
Yes. Okay. He's suing Universal Music Group. He's suing Lucian Grange personally. He alleges that Lucian Grange and Diddy are in a relationship by saying that like they disappear into Diddy's room and for hours, and like this is the stuff that I've seen. I was groomed for sex. Like essentially he wasn't a gay man, but then Diddy found him when he was young. These are the allegations he's making. Again, a lot of photos like of other rappers. He's named like Cuba Gooding Jr., who's an actor.
Yeah.
I'm getting a notification from YouTube. Jamie, are we still live on YouTube? Is everything good? Are we good, Jamie? What if Jamie?
It looks like we're good. I got to double check.
Okay, cool. I'm just getting notifications, and I've got to be careful because they can always take it down for whatever. They're going to just say we couldn't have used that and got taken down. So what Candace Owen is kind of referring to, she's not referring to like a lot of the stuff that's on the top. She's going a little bit deep, right? She's talking about what Puff Daddy was doing was like an emulation of what Jeffrey Epstein was doing, right?
Correct.
Now, I've asked you this before. What does Epstein mean to you, right? Because Epstein really was the merger of like some of the conspiracy theory stuff with the mainstream. Like now, oh my God, there is a secret society going on. These are people who are actually using children as currency, right?
Right.
Fuck money, because money don't mean nothing. They got
That's
all
what
the
I
money.
said. It's value. Right? It has value to another person.
Yes. And this whole society where they talk about Bohemian Grove, which is this area where all the elites go to do freaky parties. There's all these things that they have these like rituals and all this stuff. That's what the ruling class does. They actually use children as currency. They plug you in early. Like in other words, at one point, from what's going on, from what's explained, Puff Daddy with his connections. Puff Daddy got was working for a music company, right?
Right.
When he was a freshman, and he was going to Howard. Now, let's say something. Puff Daddy didn't come from the Compton. He didn't come from the streets. He didn't come from like where Biggie and Tupac came from, Bethesda-Stuyvesant.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Park Slope area, which used to be raw back in there. It's not even Park Slope. It's more Bethesda-Stuyvesant. I think Brownsville is the other thing. But these are raw areas. These are the streets. These are poverty. You know what I'm saying? Puffy lived out in burbs, right? I think his mom was a military woman, wasn't she? She finished the military, I think, and then moved out to the burbs where Puffy went to private school. Then he went to college. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't have the life they lived. So he was in this area where I think the elites can discover more of a person that they can control. So what I'm saying is that when he was a freshman in college, he worked for that record label, Uptown.
Right.
And it was Andre Matola, I think his name was, or Andre something, who found him and said, hey, come here, whatnot. But Andre was
I believe wasn't it Clyde Wilson?
Well, no, Andre is the guy who found him. But Andre was a product of Clive Davis. Clive Davis, who's had connections with a guy named David Geffen, who's another mogul. And these guys are connected to like the deep parts of Hollywood, the Hollywoods that control stuff, the evil parts.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is that Puffy was not something that happened by chance. They found him early and said, this is a guy we can control.
Right.
Supposedly, there's questions that Puff Daddy do sexual favors for Andre. Andre once did sexual favors for Clive Davis.
Yep.
And that's the kind of chain that continued on. And they would use these methods in the entertainment industry of making sure they had these parties and got these people on film and whatnot. So in other words, at one point when Andre stepped over the line, right? Like now Andre met, when Puff Daddy, Andre was in the same position that Puff Daddy's in. When Puff Daddy met Andre, who was the record example level, he met him through Heavy D, right? Introduced him. But then if he was starting to do those sexual favors for Andre, and now he's plugged into that society, he has no choice. He can't leave. Now he's set off on a sail, right? You were talking to me yesterday about the young things. Remember, you're the same person. But no, there's a point when the ruling class gets a hold of you, they control you. And Candace was kind of talking about that stuff. So what are your thoughts on what Candace was talking and how you feel that kind of intertwines and your thoughts about where you think Puffy is now with this whole situation?
He's trying to get us canceled. No,
yeah. Blackpilling, baby. So I want to know. So
honestly, stuff like that does happen. You
believe it happens.
Allegedly, so it's just kind of like we have a term in the streets called selling out.
Yes.
Right. It's either you buy in or you sell out or you just don't mess with it at all.
Yeah.
That's why you see some artists come up in such a quick time, some comedians come up in a swift time, and then there's others that have to actually work for where they are now. Shout outs to Cat Williams. Definitely, he's always been one that they tried to get to, but back to the point. My point is that yes, Diddy was, once you step in that lane, that's what's going to happen. Candace, I believe her friend Destiny, which is what Cassie.
I don't think it's a friend. I think it's a business thing. Candace too smart to be friends with that dude. She's just being nice, and I appreciate her going over and doing different media.
No, I think she was friends with Destiny. Destiny, which is Cassie, the girlfriend.
Oh, you're talking. All right, sorry, not Destiny. You're talking about the other person.
Yeah.
Now, who is Cassie, and what do you know about Cassie? And I'll explain what I know about who Cassie is. Right. So if you don't know, let us know who Cassie is.
Cassie was the girlfriend of Sean Diddy Combs for like about 15 years.
But he was 38 and they were 20 when they started dating, and she was part of the label. She was part of Big Boy.
Right.
She was a performer. She was supposed to be this next big thing, and Puff Daddy plugged her in. Right. Puff Daddy had the power to plug her in.
Right. That's the thing we talk about. Gatekeepers.
All right. So that's who Cassie is. Now, Cassie has just come out with a lawsuit, right?
Right.
But it was settled.
Right.
How much was that lawsuit settled for? You tell me, because I found out later, but because they didn't say it in the video, but you told me how much it was.
It was $30 million.
In less than 24 hours, Puff Daddy pays off Cassie, and this is brand new.
Right.
But then he also steps down from a lot of his companies too, as well, right?
Yeah, he stepped down for pretty much all of them
Yes.
to work on what he says is mental health and to better himself. And he's just focused on other avenues right now because he's trying to fix his name. So
Yeah.
let's just be honest.
Now let's just remember now, Puff Daddy, just after this happens, now there's this other lawsuit that's going on, this record guy who wants to sue the head of the companies that he's with.
Yeah, I think his name's Little Rod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wants to sue and everything. And he alleges all this stuff that he knows the inside the Puff's party. Now, there's been in the background when you talk about Cat Williams, and I didn't watch it yesterday. I saw it come up. Cat Williams was on
Club
Shannon
Shay
Sharp.
Shay.
Club Shay Shay. Shannon Sharp. And I know Shannon Sharp from the old days when he was defending Ray Lewis. When Ray Lewis,
best tight end, top tight end
He
in
was great.
the history.
he
of the
backed
game.
up I've always loved Shannon Sharp because he's got his way of his words. I love him.
Hey, Club Shay Shay, if you're watching, please have me have a guest. Just so you know.
All right, he's reaching for the stars now. Shay Shay. All right, baby, I love it. But on Club Shay Shay, which was Shannon Sharp, he had Cat Williams on. And I didn't watch the whole thing, but you told me there was a part, right?
Right.
Where Cat Williams said some stuff about P. Diddy. Elaborate on that, what he said. So, because I think this paints a picture within the mainstream now all of a sudden, like, because this is shots fired. There was stuff going on in the underground, lawsuits, stuff we didn't hear about. Shots fired to putting this shit out there that Puff Daddy is, I don't want to say necessarily gay or sleeps with children, but
He is very much gay, but I think he's a bisexual to be accurate with that.
Okay.
Allegedly.
So what did Cat Williams put out there on Club Shay Shay?
Basically, Cat said, Diddy like the party.
Yeah.
And you got to tell him no.
Because
He
if you want to keep something sacred.
If you want to keep that sacred hole that should never be touched by a man,
the holiest of holiest.
the holiest hole we have, you got to tell him no.
That was the first kind of like shots fired.
Right.
So he's insinuating that in Hollywood that Puff Daddy throws these parties, and people would say, right, the accusations, the rumor out there that was Puff would throw these parties, you get people really fucked up on drugs and drug them and whatnot.
Right.
I mean, he said some weird shit.
Allegedly.
There was something going on where there was like a video going on where Puff Daddy was and Usher was there, and he's like, he used to come live with me back in the days and hang on out. And it was Kevin Hart, and he said we used to wrestle on top of the Frosted Flakes. And Kevin Hart goes, "What the hell did Puff Daddy just say?" But that kind of like rhetoric was out there.
I mean, there's more interviews and more video of Puff Daddy, as you call him, saying some questionable things.
Yeah.
He even has a video where Meek Mills is in his pool. He's like, we had a crazy night last night, and Meek just looks so like drugged up or whatever, but trying to calm down from it. He said, boy, he's like, yeah, you deserve it, Daddy. What is up with this man? And then the next video, there's a video I want to post that, but you got to get footage of it, where an interview asks, you know, are you attracted to men? He said it depends on what mood I'm in.
There was all this crazy stuff. All right, there was a situation you had told me about. I didn't see this one where Puff Daddy wanted his butler to feed him as he was having sex with a man or woman.
They don't disclose that, but they do said that the butler's job, this is why he has the alleged lawsuit against Diddy going on. But I even think they settled that. But Diddy would make him feed him as he was butt naked having intercourse with the other participant. So yeah, I don't know if you know how that feels, guys, but just imagine your job is to feed this man as he is having intercourse butt naked, and you watch for your paycheck. I don't know, but you keep that.
Get these banners going there, Jamie. Let these people know what King is saying. He's like, your butler's job. You have to feed me while I'm having sex intercourse. We don't know if it was a man or a woman. And really, to tell you the truth, I think he wanted to bring the butler into the whole freaky scene.
Yeah, that's why he would make them watch, but he never would. Hey, shouts to that butler.
And that hopefully he stayed as holiest of the holiest. He said no, right? He quit, whatever. But now this rhetoric is out there. Now we hear Cat Williams say some stuff. You hear 50 Cent. What did 50 Cent say, right? I saw that video too. You told me about it too, and I went and found it. Like, he said, Puff's like, hey, when are we gonna hang out? Let's go shopping. I'll buy. And 50 Cent was like, get the Outta
he's
here.
like, yo, what is wrong with this dude?
Yeah. Like Puff Daddy offered to take 50 Cent shopping and say, I'll pay for it. But you said,
and he explained it. He has a video
saying
with
that.
the Breakfast Club, I believe, where they asked him, it was like, is it true that you asked 50 Cent to go shopping? And Sean goes, I thought he needed some clothes. What?
He did want to sign him, though, right? He wanted to sign him. And
did he like to party?
He did want to sign him. So some people say, well, that's he just a producer trying to get an artist to go with him, buy him a bunch of stuff and say, sign with my label and whatnot. Frank Zappa coined the brown lipstick phrase back in the day when he talked about is dealing with moguls in the music industry. Yeah, Frank Zappa did talk about the moguls. The moguls were plugged into the secret society, though. Right. See, here's the thing. When I watched this movie the other day, it was called Surviving Diddy. And it was about, Puff Daddy and everything he went through. It told the story about how he came up on the record label, that he dropped out of school, and a couple of years later, he was the vice president. Exactly. And you don't get that job unless you're doing favors for people. Right. And when we talk about favors,
listen, I'm telling you, I know a lot of friends of mine that have dropped out from college, and none of them out of the hundreds of people I've traveled this world, none of them just get handed a record label company. That's like one in a million. That Diddy's the only one I know.
Yeah, personally. He did. But there was a point in the careers where Andre Mottola, right, was overstepped. So in other words, Clive Davis is at the top over here. He's the head of the record label, right?
Right.
It's not Columbia, it's something else, I think, whatever it is, but Uptown Records and whatnot. So Andre Mottola, who's the one who hired Diddy, supposedly Diddy did favors for him, is the accusation.
Depends on what mood he's in.
To move up there. Well, what happened was at one point, Bad Boy is before the way it was started is because Uptown Records didn't want to release Biggie Smalls' album Ready to Die.
Right.
So what they did was they fired P. Diddy, and this is shortly after he became the vice president. He was still very young. And then all of a sudden, P. Diddy went to Clive Davis, started Bad Boy. Clive Davis helped him out. So it was said that Diddy understood how he can overstep his boundaries and stuff. Clive Davis was open about his sexuality, being a homosexual. David Geffen, who is another label of another different record company, who has ties to all the acting agencies, which are tied into Epstein, which are tied into the secret society. It's once again about controlling the bread and circuses, because you want people out there that you can control. In other words, in the industry, they believe people like Epstein would put people in compromising positions as a lawmaker.
Right.
Well, they believe that David Geffen and Clive Davis are plugged into that whole society to make sure that you get people you can control. Like Lady Gaga, her history with, I believe it's Anita Abramovich. I forgot her name, but I just want to make sure we get some comments here and stuff. She was a controlled person too, as well.
Right.
So they believe that Puffy was part
Kinda
of
like
the same
Oprah.
thing. So he goes to Clive Davis and gets the money to start Bad Boy. And then all of a sudden, Bad Boy lets him release the Ready to Die album, Craig Mack's album, all those albums that he was able to do. So they say that Puff Daddy understood how to play the game and go to Clive Davis. Something I want to point out to you now. 2 days ago, Suge Knight, who does this, and get this ready here. Suge Knight, he's already got it ready. See, Jamie's got it ready. Suge Knight, who's doing a podcast, spent 28 years incarcerated, right?
Right.
For his latest crime. He does it's called Collect Call with Suge. His lawyer, who's the other co-host, or a lawyer who's a co-host, calls him, and they do this audio discussion, and then they put it out, and the AI speaks as an AI like cartoon character of Suge.
Right.
So you can really watch and stuff. Well, 2 days ago, this is what he said. Because when I was watching Surviving Diddy and I saw Diddy go, Puff Daddy or Sean Combs, go to Clive to get Bad Boy, I was like, this is where it's at. People got to understand Clive Davis is where it's at. Let me see the title one more time really quickly. It says right here, Diddy and Clive Davis were once lovers, Suge Knight says. So this is what I'm talking about. This is how Puff Daddy is so tied into secret society that, yeah, you got to question all those other things that were there. I'll just read. Suge Knight's prison podcast has already brought about countless shocking claims, including a recent allegation about Diddy and Clive Davis. In the new episode of Collect Call with Suge Knight, the former Death Row boss recalled Jimmy Iovine, who's another big name out there, making a bombshell revelation during a meeting at Interscope. Interscope once eventually became Death Row came out of Interscope. Interscope was the albums that a lot of the people on the West Coast were working with. Apparently, he wasn't supposed to hear the explosive news, but decided to share it with him anyways. Scroll up a little bit real quick. I'm going to read the rest of them so we just get the quote. When in the office, in the Westwood Interscope office, night began. I walked into Jimmy's office. I didn't have to knock on the door. He was having a conversation. I overheard somebody say something probably shouldn't have heard. Go down. Suge Knight recalls, he says, well, here it is. Wait, he said, I'm here because Clive Davis told me that Puffy's real tight and, lovers. So I thought he was like, they got love for each other. I'm like, he said, nah, they are lovers. And he continued. And I'm like, why do you keep saying that? I said, are they lovers? Like fucking and sucking? And he said, I don't want to say that, but that's what that he means, right? Suge Knight claims are unconfirmed, but this is far from the first time Diddy's been accused of having romantic relationships with a fellow male celebrity. It was also far from the first time Suge Knight has accused other male celebrities of secretly hooking up. So what he was saying, Suge Knight, is that Clive Davis and Puff Daddy had something.
Right.
And that plugs Puff Daddy deep into the Illuminati, Freemason, secret society. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's when I looked at that video, I was like, oh shit, that's where it at. Because Clive Davis has been tight with people like David Geffen, like I said, all these guys who are part of that secret society. In fact, I reached out to my boy, Jamie Deluxe, to ask him if there's any stuff he'll have on Puff Daddy, and hopefully he'll tell me more. Because this goes deep now into the secret society. Because a lot of people, when they start talking about Epstein, they realize it makes them think about money. Because, like, wait a second. If there's a set of rules for all these people and they're controlling society, they're controlling all the big finances on the top, they're using kids as currency, what choice do we have? We're nothing but sheep or hamsters in a wheel. Absolutely. Until we come together and expose these guys. And Puff Daddy's part of that whole society. Right. Like we have talked about, like, oh, Puff Daddy's going to sing. Who's he going to sing to? The people that are above him, they control the money, they control the courts, they control the Congress, the lawmakers and stuff. They're going to make him go away if they want to. Absolutely. So he can have what's called the dead man switch. When he dies, all this information just gets blasted on the internet. Different people have things to start dropping everywhere, right?
Yeah.
To expose the Illuminati if that happens and stuff. You hear what I'm saying about, you know?
I mean, I think they'll be silenced, to be honest.
Do you think it'll be dead, killed, silenced? Or?
I just feel like if you think about it, it's kind of like this, right? You can only do what the landlord says, right? Okay. So if you have a landlord and he tells you can't paint and you paint anyway, then what's going to happen? You're going to get put out. Yeah. So same thing with the higher ups of the Illuminati. You're going to get put out of your misery if you sing like Canary. As we've seen, they've taken down YouTube videos, they've taken down podcasts, they have control on the mainstream YouTube market. So what really, as far, and then I think even one of my friends had the secret society come to his house when he made some claims about a president of, I forgot whatever the person's name was, but the point is they can get you taken care of and even take it off the internet if they want to. So what control do you really have, or choice do you have?
What choice? Well, I think there is a choice that just exists within the bubble of what's going on. In other words, like you can make a few bucks, be relaxed, have your shit taken care of, really not be concerned with what they're doing, not be concerned what's happening with society, because there's that inner circle goes so deep, right? My bad.
Oh.
Give me 2 seconds.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
You say
we're going on commercial break.
Let me get it straight out. I knew this would happen eventually. These tables were whacked out, and this mic thing, it's going back. Hold on. All right, say something. Jamie, why don't you do we have a video real quickly or anything up next? What's up there? I want to do something. I want to start pulling, if you can, Jamie. First of all, let's get some stuff out there. Look in the chat, see if there's any statements out there that King Reese can talk about. And I also want to see if we can maybe pull some of the documents. I heard the documents from the lawsuit are online on Twitter. If anybody has anything to share about the documents talking about what P. Diddy did, you know what I'm saying? Because he all right, listen.
It's like a 73-page document.
There's something about control, right? Like P. Diddy got accused of doing a lot of these things. Like, in other words, that woman Jaguar who was in the movie Surviving Diddy, right? Guys, go check out the movie Surviving Diddy, P. Diddy. And she talks about the fact that there was people who worked at record labels that walked in and saw Al B. Sure giving Puff Daddy favors, and his comment was, "See, it's about power and control." Right. So it's really not about just homosexuality; it's about something deeper and messed up.
Well, some people believe, and everybody has their opinions, but some people believe that power is it goes back to slavery.
Okay.
I hate to put that out there, guys, but it really does. It's, to keep the male slaves in order, the master would rape the men, even if they weren't homosexuality, just to demasculate the men, to show the other slaves this is a power and control move and to keep you in line. So it's essentially, we've been doing this for generations.
Okay, I'm glad. See, I love this fucking show. See, this is gonna be a fun show, man. Yeah. So so knowing all this stuff, right? What does it say? The headline over here too by Rolling Stone, real quick. Go back down a little bit. Sean Combs raided as part of a sex trafficking investigation. You also told me too as well, and I followed up. You said there were 3 homes that were raided at the same time, right?
Right. I think
I know there was. It said in the article 2, Los Angeles and New York were raided. Boom.
Oh, sorry. Keyshawn said 3. I didn't give a number because I thought it was
so Los
2.
Angeles and Miami
2
homes, maybe the New York one. All right. So if he has a New York home, who knows? So with you knowing all this stuff about what you just talked about, right?
Right.
What does that make you feel about like your regular hustle in life and what you're doing? You know what I'm saying? Knowing that they're doing all this stuff, there's all this control. You just pointed out, very important, that what Puffy was doing was done to him, and it goes all the way back to slavery. Like, even though the slave owner wasn't a homosexual, he would still rape the
male
to show
slave.
Yeah.
To show the other slaves.
You said to demasculate, right?
Yeah, the demasculation of power and control.
Exactly. So that's still going on prior to today. How does that make you feel, though, if we understand it's done on a global level, when it takes away a lot of our choice, right? These people are controlling everything. So no, as a society right now, they got us really poor, consumed with paying bills. Like, it's by design. They got us hustling out there looking for money.
Yeah, credit card debt is at its all-time high in history.
And college debt is beyond whatever it used to be. So it's a society where they don't want you concentrating and looking at them, so they give you all these other distractions. So now you have the distractions with just trying to pay the bills, but then you also have the distractions from entertainment. You know what I'm saying? Like, people into Netflix more, like I said, they know their offensive linemen, where they went to school, but they don't know their lawmakers and what's going on, or any policy that's going on, and that is by design. Right. How does that make you feel then when you think about that for a second, that really it's not about your choices and your decision making? There's an apparatus that controls a lot of that there, and you live by their say-so in somewhat. How does that make you feel, Mr. Alan King Reese?
Me personally, it doesn't make me feel any way. Honestly, I just feel like there's a higher power and that this is all a test. So you basically just have to.
You're talking about God.
Yeah,
you're talking about believing. Okay, so you
because you have to. You can only.
That's a very common thing. People they believe in the religion when, and this is my beef with it. And I'm not meaning to cut you off, but my beef is that everybody's going to rely on God to come save us. We got to save ourselves as society.
Right, absolutely. And it's not, I don't want to put that aspersion out there like, gosh, it's going to come down on a white like Zeus and smite the mighty or the wicked. Yeah. It's nothing like that. It's like, it's absolute. But praying helps you get to a clear mind to what you know what you can do. I've had dreams on that's cool. What's going to move forward. How should I move forward? Yeah. So with that being said, you kind of get this idea of like, okay, well, this is the world I'm in. This is how I go about doing it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And you can only control what you can control. So absolutely. Personally, I say that if you don't play by their rules, right, you have to create your own rules and try to read between the lines. For me, I always say, I even heard one of my family members who's a a very high political person,
Yeah.
a high powered person, say that in order to break the rules, you must first learn them.
Yeah.
So if you learn the rules, you learn your situation that you're dealing with. This is why knowledge is power. Then you know how to move and articulate and get in those little cracks to make your own set of rules.
Absolutely.
But I mean, as far as the things that we have to do, such as the political hierarchy, it's what they want it to be. So you can't really do anything about it. So just maneuver around it and kind of,
listen, I have the same theory in the same way. It's like, if we want to understand how to control our life, we got to understand those who are controlling us and what they're doing. So once we expose them, and really, to tell you the truth, the whole part of wanting to do this kind of work and do shows like this is because the number one tool that they have, the ruling class, the Illuminati, these people that Sean Puffy Combs was a part of, and I believe he's part of that society right now. Like I didn't know a lot about this stuff. I went back into it. Look, I was a Biggie Smalls fan, right? So henceforth, Puffy was part of my life and whatnot, but to go back and relive this stuff and see where Puffy is nowadays, because I didn't pay attention to him once Biggie died. But if we understand that it's divide and conquer, they keep us divided because they keep us looking at each other and stuff like that. Like I told you, this show, I want to dive a little bit into this, explain that Epstein, I don't know if you know that Epstein, once again, this is about using kids for currency. You don't care about money, that you need money doesn't stimulate you, doesn't get you off. Having sex with pedophilia with children because you were plugged into that society maybe get you off. Using kids for currency get you off. There's a lot of talk about Will Smith and what he was all attached to.
It still goes back to slavery, bro.
It does.
They've been doing this for years.
But a lot of people aren't aware to that. They actually think that the lawmakers in our Congress make laws. No, they're just working for the people who tell them what to do.
Yeah.
They have no power. They're just the stenographers.
Right.
But understanding that they keep us divided and conquer because we're at each other's throats, we're looking, we're pointing the finger. That's why I said the next kind of show I want to do is I want to talk about race versus class. What is more important? What is the biggest factor and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of lawmakers out there now that highlight race more than anything because they want to keep us divided. Keep us divided by our race, keep us divided by our religion, keep us divided by whatever. They don't want to talk about keeping us divided by class because if they start talking about that, then their power is taken away from them. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I've traveled around the world, and I'll be honest with you, only America sees us as white, black, and Mexican. When you go overseas, no matter, I have an Asian friend that traveled with me, a black friend, an African friend, that these labels that America gives. But when we were over there, oh, you guys from America, you're American. Yeah. If America adopted that, I promise you slavery could end. But it's just another distraction to keep us divided so that way they can keep running the country and have control. So, and
that's the thing we have to talk about the next couple of shows, because the white people with no power, the way they think. See, the whole thing is the narrative out there is that there's where you come from in the South. That's where the real racism exists, right? Like they say that stuff. You go to the inner cities like Los Angeles, New York, Florida, Miami. It's a different type of racist. It's a cryptic racist. It's hidden, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? It's like there are a lot of white people out there that haven't been brought up around black people, right? So they think that they don't realize they're like, oh my God, I have to act differently or whatnot. It's like, no, he's a fucking human being. He's going to judge you the same way that you judge him. He's not going to judge you. Yeah. But
I'll say that when I was in college, I had roommate or classmates that came from small towns with the population being one person black or two people black. So some people, if you're in a town full of 200 people, I don't know where these rural areas, but they're in Washington State. Yeah. Like Wenatchee, Yakima, these places, there's like 500 people and maybe 10% black. So maybe 10 out of the 500 is black. So they don't know how to operate around these people. All they know is by looking on the internet and the propaganda that they see. And they're like, oh, well, I'm scared. They make a decision based off that of whether to be racist or not. Some people, that's just how they were upbrought.
Totally.
Like I said,
I always say it's not about the privileges that certain people have in society. It's about who doles out those privileges. Yeah. That's the people we need to be looking at. Not to say they aren't those privileges, and we'll talk about that as we have more shows. Let's finish up on Puff Daddy. We are coming up on 2 hours on the show and stuff. We got a little bit more time. So tell us your personal thoughts. Guilty, innocent, what's going to happen? Is he going to show up? Epstein, is he dead? Did you know, by the way, that Epstein's connection to his wife or his girlfriend, her name was Ghislaine Maxwell? Her dad, his name is Robert Maxwell. You ever heard the name Robert Maxwell?
No.
So Robert Maxwell owned media outlets, newspapers and stuff. He was also part of Parliament in Great Britain and made decisions about geopolitics. Really big guy.
Really?
He was also supposedly alleged to be tied into the Mossad, which is the Israeli CIA, right? These are people who are manipulating global stuff around the world. It's not our lawmakers, it's the CIA, the Mossad, and whatnot. So Ghislaine Maxwell was Robert Maxwell's daughter, who was Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice. So what I'm trying to say is it's like nothing happens on accident.
Yeah.
Relationships are planned. The mechanism is in place.
It's laid out.
Exactly. So that's when like people don't understand Epstein. They're like, yeah, he was using kids as currency. And what we're seeing right now is they're saying that Puff Daddy was like an offshoot of what Epstein used to do.
Right.
Plugged
But
into these new
there's
people.
gatekeepers all around the world,
The
man.
gatekeepers, right?
I mean, Diddy was a gatekeeper. Epstein was a gatekeeper. But here's the thing: you either fall in line and stay in line, or it goes left for you, as we see.
Do we have any comments out there, Jamie, that we can plug in really quick? What do we have? A video? What do you got? Anything? Maybe I want to get some comments from the chat.
Yeah, I found this video, but I haven't had a chance to watch it.
What is it?
It talks about the role of the Bole gatekeepers in the African American community.
Okay, so how many minutes is it?
This one's about 17 minutes though.
Why don't we go big screen? Start it off. I'm gonna refresh some coffee. But also while we're playing that out a little bit, let's get to the chat. If anybody got any questions for King Reese or myself or anybody, does anybody want to make a statement? Also, too, if anybody can track a link to some of the court documents, I'd like to see some of the court documents. I'm here. This is Black Pill Saturday. I'm here with Alan King Reese. First episode breaking down Puff Daddy Combs, the oligarchy, the ruling class, the secret society, what it means, what's going to happen, how the dominoes are going to fall. You know, what does that really mean, though, when it comes to hip hop, right? So remember hip hop back in the days, it was way more intellectual, like the people I talk about. I told you, Prof is not my new guy that I listen to. If you haven't heard Prof, amazing stuff. You ever heard Prof yet?
No.
I'm going to send you some stuff. But then before Prof, I had MF Doom. Have you ever heard of MF Doom?
No.
See, this is underground hip hop. MF Doom. When I heard MF Doom, to describe it best, I felt like put it on a suit and tie and go door to door and selling hip hop. Like it was back again. Like I was like, holy shit. I was a Biggie Smalls guy, whatnot. This is the type. It's a different type of. When you listen to even KRS-One, some of his old stuff, it's very intellectual.
Right.
It's very much about what was going on in society. He had a song called "The Police," and it was whoop whoop. That's the sound of the police, right? Whoop. That's the sound of the police. So that's old school hip hop. We can't play because YouTube will fucking take us down. But these songs were like, you know, MCs act like they don't know and stuff, just talking about, you know, these guys are intellectuals. Like, I believe that KRS-One was not allowed to blow up because he made you think too much. And when you talk about the old school hip hop, it's different. Nowadays, talking about bitches, money, titties, all that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's a different society.
That's why you got to think a lot of conscious rappers that are really good, they call them underground rappers.
Yeah.
Because when they realize that the underground is talking about something, they keep you underground. So that's why they push these other guys that make no sense, such as, have you ever heard the song Panda?
How's it go?
Panda, 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 Panda.
Yeah.
I got, bro. Literally, that song means nothing, but because of the beat, because of the headbanger and people being
that whole
distracted.
Atlanta shit right there.
Yeah.
Little John, okay.
Yeah, all of that shit is
what's up?
It's just a distraction because you're not listening to their words. You listen to the beat, the dumb things that they say. But people,
they don't want you to think.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't want, and hip hop has been that controlled environment for some time. That's why why
we have Sexy Red.
Well, we started talking about Tupac and Biggie. It's like these guys, they have to go. They're going to get people to start thinking about themselves, be very conscious and whatnot.
Right.
I mean, that's what happened. You know, the funny thing that happened out of COVID, whatever you believe of it, and it's so funny because the conservative side, they became the health nuts. It used to be the left, like the Democrats, and like, oh, we got to ban 64-ounce sodas. It's unhealthy. We got to stop giving. You know, you got to put all this stuff on the labeling. It was the right wing that became health conscious after COVID. It's like flipped, where it used to be the left. Right. But they didn't want you to think. They just wanted you to react, be reactionary, just get fast food, get crap food. Don't worry what's in it. The GMOs, how they're chemically made and stuff. Yeah. So things flip in hip hop. It's flipped from intellectual music, talking about what's really going on, to just sex
Distraction.
and distractions.
Yeah.
So Puff Daddy was part of that whole fucking apparatus, if not a big part on the East Coast.
I mean, to keep it simple, you name me your favorite 3 Diddy songs. Can you name them?
No, I can't. You said
Right
I'll be
there.
missing you was one of them.
No.
Right?
My cousin, once again, he
said I'm missing.
he likes.
We
2
got to get
songs by
Keyshawn
Diddy.
on the show because Keyshawn got a lot to say.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
And
We got to get a third mic in here.
I don't know any Diddy songs. For me personally, I don't think, but that just shows you. Think about this from a logical standpoint. How is somebody that you can't even remember your top 3 favorite songs of worth $1 billion? The math is, and he's known for what? Music. So how can we not remember a song?
Yes.
It's when things don't make sense like that, you have to put 2 and 2 together.
But how does it? What does it mean for our lives? Because we're caught in this hamster wheel. We're running around for money, and they show you this is a set society. Jeff Bezos, who owns Amazon, when I said he didn't make it on his own. People are like, oh, he's a creator of Amazon. This guy had a brain. He made it on his own. He made money from scratch. No, he was chosen. His grandfather was the first director of DARPA. Now, I don't know if you know what DARPA is, and that's another thing. The DARPA is a defense industry that deals with propulsion and stuff. I don't want to know what it stands for. Jamie, if you can look up DARPA real quick and just read what it stands for, it's a defense industry thing. Jeff Bezos' grandfather, was the first director there. So when we talk about consumerism, everybody buys so much stuff from Amazon. They're dependent on Amazon, right? So they want to put somebody who in charge as part of, once again, the control mechanism.
Right.
Don't make your own food. Don't get your own water. You know, it's illegal in some countries to collect rainwater. In some states, the United States, some county, it's illegal to collect your own rainwater.
Yeah, I think
it's illegal to collect your own rainwater. In LA, it's illegal to sleep in your car. In certain places, you cannot collect your own rainwater. Why is that? Why is that?
Because you're not following the society rules.
Exactly. And you're not plugged into, you're not dependent on them. They want you dependent on them. So people are so dependent on and go to Amazon. They wanted a guy who was in control. That's what I'm saying. None of this is people made these millions, made this money. Elon Musk is connected to DARPA. See, there it is. The Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. It's part of the military. It gets funding.
Yeah.
I can't say it because we're on YouTube, but the vaccine, the mRNA is kind of, I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to get taken down, but there's some connections there. That's why I'm saying that everything is so plugged in. What Puff Daddy was doing, right?
Right.
What does that mean to you? The fact that all these people are chosen and we live at their will. I mean, doesn't it make like everything we've been doing for most of our life somewhat of an illusion to you?
Yeah. Yeah. Some people have an illusion of life and death.
Yes.
I mean, I feel like life is literally what you make it under the controls of the higher hierarchy of the nation. I mean,
so you saying exist and live underneath that bubble because they're there no matter what. So we just got to deal with it. We got to deal with it.
I'm a rebel, so I kind of do things that probably you shouldn't. And I keep, you know what I'm saying, business, you know, very legitimate. But I always know that, hey, coming from the struggle, you didn't get here overnight. Let's just say that. So it's a process, good, bad, and different. It's a life you choose, which direction to follow their rules in society or to not and take a chance. I'm a risk taker.
It's so weird because right now, like, there's a lot of people who recognize what's going on. We just don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
We haven't had a solution how we face it head on and get sovereignty over our lives, real sovereignty, like all of us. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's some theories I could tell you about.
You sacrifice your sacred whole.
Yeah. Well, how do we get rid of these maniacs that are controlling us, that are using kids as currency, that are, you know what I'm saying? They have these sick fucking twisted ways. We see what
Diddy will do that.
Daddy was doing and shit. So
Diddy's gonna do that.
Yeah.
Unless he gets silenced. If
you think he's going to expose some people?
Yeah, this is how
he's going to end up Epstein.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Exactly.
Dead.
But here's the thing. This is how it works with these FBIs and all this. If they give him 25 to life, and he gives up other people that were orchestrating these deals with him, it doesn't have to be, of course, they're not going to touch us. Everything has a ceiling. Yeah. But if you give up, like, who is right hand, your right hand, that right hand that's connected, all of these will lessen your time. So we'll see how many he outs But I mean, he's
Nah,
probably.
see, I don't think there is no less than enough time. It's like you open your mouth, you're dead. I think they're already getting like he's got some stuff. Like, see, there's people who think that why haven't they whacked Donald Trump? See, I believe personally that Donald Trump's working for the secret society. He's working for the Illuminati. He just is that person that's so divisive. They allow him to say some stuff, but at the end of the day, when you look at his policies, like the actual laws on paper, they're not that far off from Joe Biden.
Yeah,
they're really not that far off. There are some areas, but they act like this guy is in this anti-establishment, like he's taking on the establishment and they don't want him to go there. I believe all these frivolous lawsuits are happening to victimize him so his people have more support behind him. So that when he does, if they make him become president, maybe a war with China, maybe some other type of, I believe he's a wolf in sheep's clothing, but I'm not 100% sure. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's where I'm at when it comes to that situation.
I will definitely say you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Like I said, there's a bigger hierarchy behind the presidency. Let's just call it what it is. Then it's everybody has their rules and guidelines they must follow. That's why you don't see much difference between the Biden rules or the Trump rules, because it's a different hierarchy. You know what I mean? So even when it goes back to Diddy, he's gonna go to a certain level of hierarchy to try to save his own ass, or he's just gonna kill himself.
Well, he's gonna get killed, I think. I don't know.
But here's the thing: he's going to get killed, but they're gonna say it just like with Epstein. Oh, he hung himself.
Yeah, he Epsteined himself. Epstein didn't Epstein himself, though. That's my personal opinion. He might be alive. He might be living in Saudi Arabia, kicking it or somewhere. I don't know. We don't know. Yeah, the whole thing is that we assume there would be a dead man switch. Like if he shows up dead, I believe Puffy's got it set up for a dead man switch. Like you kill Puffy, he's got all this footage of these people that is just going to start popping up everywhere. Like he put in a little thumb drive. Hey, if something happens to me, get this out there. And you know what I'm saying? Like dead man switch. What do y'all think out there? Does Puffy have a dead man switch? And Jamie, did you find any comments that we can get to ask King Reese or get the audience involved? Or you're not paying attention, you're just sitting back there. See, Jamie's just watching the show, having his popcorn.
No, there's nobody's asking questions. I mean, there's comments.
Any good comments or anything though? I mean, geez.
Well, there's that.
Rap is about popping pill, where it used to be shameful to use dope.
Yeah, the war on drugs. Remember that? But now we're just go ahead and promoting it.
Do all things with love says. Here's a question: how did Cat Williams know it was coming? How does he always know things? I know he was a child prodigy and all, but is he some kind of fed? You asking if Cat Williams is some kind of fed?
No, I don't believe that. I just think that he's seen enough. Cat's always been at odds against the Illuminati. He's a person that believes in God and believes in Satan. So he's always been in a position to where he could have chose left, and they'll give you a choice. You don't have to do it, but once you say yes, there's no going back. Cat's always said no, but that doesn't mean, how do you get someone to even ask that question? You have to bring them into some stuff you're doing.
Let's Jamie, do me a favor really quickly while we're getting into that. Take a look and see if you can find Cat Williams and Shannon Sharp about P. Diddy. Maybe there's a clip on Instagram, or maybe there's a clip on Twitter. Take a look at that. But that's the question. Do you think Cat Williams is the Fed? He knows a lot. He says stuff. See, the thing is that that's how feds operate, though, within society. They act like there's somebody out there who's a real person exposing shit.
Right.
But then they bring you in a certain direction, right? Like they're meant to lead you. In other words, my friend Ian Davis from England used to say, you got to be careful, not so much about the things they drop, it's where they're telling you to go. Because they come in and they appear as your friend and like-minded and say, okay, and they get you, but then they say, this is happening, right?
Right.
And they want you to believe that for a certain reason. It's called narrative management. Right. Narrative management. They want to manage the narrative. So if people start talking about something that's true, they want to get them on something that's untrue.
Right.
And now they spread so much, I hate to use this word disinformation because it's been used in a certain way, that they have so much disinformation. Everything's so convoluted. Like right now we talked about the bridge, right? The bridge that went down.
In Baltimore.
Yes. Now there's conversations right now that bridge in Baltimore, was it a attack that was happened on purpose? Was it a real accident? Because it's going to shut down a lot of commerce and a lot of shipping, and it's going to really fucking financially sack people. So people are even debating, was that an attack by an adversary There's all these things they talk about, but they throw like 9/11, the same thing. Was it an inside job, 9/11? It looked like there was explosives. Buildings aren't supposed to come down that way. There's the famous Building 7, which was a smaller building that was there that had all these Pentagon and all these other important paperwork. It went down. It wasn't hit by no building. How the fuck did that building go down? So they think it's a conspiracy, but the way they really convolute it is that all these people believe in different theories. In other words, the plane that hit the Pentagon,
Right.
there's a big debate whether it was a plane or a missile. So what they do is they muddy the waters by having all these different crazy theories and opinions that nobody believes anything.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. There was a CIA director who said once a long time, he goes, once we have people not knowing exactly what to believe because it's so confusing, then our mission has been accomplished. Because then no matter what, the truth never really gets out because there's so many different theories. And then people go, oh, come on, man. It's the come on, man thing. Like, you can't believe that. No, this person believes this. That person believes that. So
Right.
that's how they muddy the waters that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it goes back to what you said. Keep conquer and divide.
Yeah.
So
That's how they divide people.
divide
And
and
stuff.
conquer, excuse me. So
Okay, so I think that's a good show right there. It's almost 2 hours and 30 minutes, almost 400 people. Let's get above 400 people, guys. Come on, help us
I
out.
think I found the clip for Cat Williams. If you want to show it,
Did you find it?
I think so.
All right, let's listen to this clip for Cat Williams, guys. How many people we got on Rumble, Jamie?
It's fluctuating around 40. We got 37 at the moment.
Oh, come on, guys.
Going up and down.
Share that Rumble out there. What's wrong with you people out there, the Rumble 40 people? Let's everybody get on the Convo Couch YouTube. All the links down below. You want to help us out. Independent media, Black Pill Saturday, first guest ever. King Alan Reese is here talking about the P. Diddy, breaking it down, what he thinks, what it means to us in society. Is an Epstein-like character? Where do we go from here? What does it mean about hip-hop? What does it mean about our own selves nowadays? We have a completely controlled society. We are nothing more than sheep and puppet for the ruling class. What does that mean for us as human beings to try to make a living and do whatever we got to do? If we're so opinionated we can think for ourselves, they'll never let us make money, right? They'll never let us have a living. And what is money anyways? We talked about that too. This is the video that King Alan Reese talked about. He was able to educate me on what was going on when it came to Cat Williams, Shannon Sharp, him and his cousin Keyshawn Taylor. Big up, send a shout out to him. Puff Daddy, looking deeper. Take a look, take a listen. We'll be right back. Here we go.
At one point during the chat, he said he turned down an invitation to one of Diddy's parties due to gay sex allegedly taking place at them.
Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. I did. See, I got the receipts for everything I'm telling you. That's why I can say them so freely.
Shannon went right for the cognac.
yeah.
Like, oh my God. Like Shannon Sharp. Okay, so now football players, a little bit of a controlled environment too. You can't speak out of line. Look at how about Aaron Rodgers for doing what he did, for not taking the shot, telling people he was inoculated. They flipped out on him. Shannon, he's part of that whole society, right? ESPN is owned by Disney. Disney is owned by all these fucking crazy motherfuckers that are part of the Illuminati, part of the controlled mechanism. The
Fortune
media is
500.
owned by the elites because they can't let real news get out there. It's controlled propaganda.
Right.
So here's Shannon Sharp hearing that shit. Oh my God. What did he just say? Give me that cognac. He's pouring. He's like, he just stepped into an area.
Yeah.
He's got to be careful with the show, Shannon Sharp. Because Shannon Sharp doesn't seem like one of those people who can keep his mouth closed and will say his own opinion. And as he starts understanding shit, he might. That was deep right there. That was some dark shit coming out in a mainstream setting. That video has almost fucking 64 million views.
Yeah.
64 million views, the Shannon Sharp Cat Williams video.
Yeah. It broke the interview that broke the internet.
What choice do we got?
Oh, you gotta think. I mean, life honestly is about what you perceive to be entertaining and what you want to do. So you see that with that video, a lot of people are conscious and trying to figure out the truth of how to start somewhere about this whole control situation that we're in. So it sucks that they consider us to not have control, but there's other people fighting to get control.
See, that's the thing too. Jamie Cheese Slice, come on up real quick. Jamie Cheese Slice says that there are fights among the oligarchs in the ruling class, and they're having battles with each other. That's another theory right there. Some people feel they're on the lockstep, same page, understand how to control society. They have what's called social engineers out there that understand how people's brains work and how humans collaborate with each other and talk, so they understand that.
Right.
But there's people like Jamie Cheese Slice over here who says that they're fighting for power between each other. And that's the theory about Donald Trump, that he represents a different side of the oligarch. Just another theory that's having a power struggle with each other. Am I right,
Well,
Cheese Slice?
Yeah, I think you could almost say they kind of have similar goals, but they have different power bases that want to be in control of it. And they don't have exactly the same plan, but from our perspective, it might as well be the same plan. And because it's about, they want to rule the world basically. And, but everybody wants to be the one who's in charge of ruling the world. And
That's what you think.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely different groups at the top that are fighting for control.
But wouldn't their interests converge? Like George Carlin once said, their interests converge. So
they do.
Their power or the success of their control depends on their relationship with each other.
Right.
They start fighting amongst each other, they can lose the whole thing.
It's like
they know that.
It's
they
like
work
gangs
together,
dividing up a
they
city.
control us, and we are nothing more than sheep. We're not more than cattle to them, Jamie.
It's
yeah,
like
but
how-
it's kind of like this though.
Exactly.
Like, if, honestly, I think it's like if me and you, right, I'm king one in my place and you're king one in your place, even though we have to converge to live in this society, one's gonna always want to have the overall control. So
Right.
I definitely agree with Jamie on
It's like
that
when
one.
you have multiple gangs they divide up a city and say, okay, you get this area, you get that area, you get that area. And then one gang decides, hey, we can take over the whole city. And then they go to war with each other. And it's like, so regular people, they're just the collateral damage.
So pull up the 50 Cent video. Look for 50 Cent real quick. I'm going to put an article on there. Pull up the 50 Cent video of Puff Daddy and what he talks about. So this is do all things with love. And he says, I watched the whole interview waiting for Cat to say something intelligent and righteous about Palestine. He left me very disappointed comparing himself to Israel.
Okay. So is that the war between Israel and Palestine? Okay. I definitely not a fan of war. I feel like if we can all come together in a perfect world, right? We can all come together and have reconcilable differences and kind of agree to disagree. So it doesn't have to go to war, and we're putting people's families at death with each other, and then costing our own country more resources that we already claim we don't have because we have a national debt problem. So you would think we wouldn't want to create that, but history.
So here's the thing:
itself.
Cat's got influence. He's got power. Right now, as we are speaking, I'm just going to tell you from my personal point of view, the most pressing issue, the most important thing right now is Israel-Palestine.
Right.
And there's an actual genocide going on. There's an actual ethnic cleansing where you're taking a society out, where you're taking a race out. And there's beliefs that they're building this big pier that goes from the water 2 miles off. It's like a portable pier. Where they say they're going to use it to get humanitarian aid in there. But a lot of people believe it's about taking the Palestinians and dispersing them all around the country, just getting them out of their homeland. Now, that's ethnic cleansing, and that ties into like what a lot of people
So
would
we're
say.
supporting Israel?
Of course we are. United States government, all the bombs come from Israel.
Okay.
We act like we're playing peace and the humanitarian stuff, but Israel only exists because we provide them weapons and whatnot. All the weapons come from us. So we're telling them to take it easy, but we're giving them all the weapons. I use the analogy. It's like we're telling this guy to stop beating his wife, but we hand him a thicker belt every single time to beat her with. And you're being very contradictory of what's going on. So it is the most important pressing issue. And there's a lot of people out there, especially Black people, who understand what slavery and ethnic cleansing and taking a society and removing them and killing them and enslaving them. And for him to not say anything makes a lot of the other stuff he talks about less. Because he's not talking about what's important. He should have said something in that interview about Palestine the same way that Kyrie Irving spoke up. Right now, Kyrie and Kanye, whatever you think about them, they have educated themselves in a lot of theory when it comes to Israel.
Right.
What Kanye West said on Alex Jones when he was talking about Netanyahu.
Right.
Oh, I'm Netanyahu. Ooh, I'm going to write all the language. I'm going to control all this stuff. He was talking about deep stuff.
Right.
But in our society, if you are anti-Zionism, which is not about being Jewish, it's about being a person who believes that Israel, the country, has the right to expand, has a right to that land, has a right to kick out the Palestinians. If you don't believe that in entertainment, media, whatever, they 86 your ass.
Right.
So they looked at Cat Williams there of not saying the stuff and not having the courage that Kanye had, and not having the courage that Kyrie Irving had, or the courage for anybody who spoke up about Palestinians. And there's players within soccer that are speaking up. Then you're chicken shit. Then you really, you know what I'm saying? In other words, if you ain't talking about this, then you ain't nothing, because that's the most important pressing issue on the planet now.
Right. But
35,000 civilians killed. So
yeah, I just think he was answering the questions that Shannon Sharp was asking. I don't think he ever mentioned anything about that, but I'm pretty sure he just kind of like let Shannon ask his questions and just responded to him.
I hear you.
If that had been a question, I truly believe.
But he did compare himself to Israel. They're saying, I didn't see the whole interview, so I'll watch it. Thank you so much for the comment. It's good to know and hear that, so I'll go back and look at that.
But he's making metaphors too, so
yeah, you comparing yourself to Israel, you better know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah,
and that's the problem. A lot of people don't know what they're talking about, and they need to get educated on the thing, because all these people are dying, King, our weapons. I mean, I know it's our government, but if it's our government spilling blood in our name, we need to speak up, and we need to speak up loudly. And let me tell you something. It's not financially advantageous to talk out against the state of Israel like I am right now.
Right.
And I would be quiet about it. And I wouldn't talk about it a lot because I didn't want to put myself in that area. Plus, I lived in Boca Raton, Florida, where I have a lot of people growing up are very supportive of the Israeli government. They're Zionists. They were some of the greatest people that I lived with in South Florida. I love them. Some of them were mentors. So I have a different personal connection. I grew up in Boca Raton. I left New York. I grew up in Boca Raton. My school was 75% Jewish, 20% Italian. Because there's a bunch of people, and like 5%, you know what I'm saying, other. Like, you know, the only reason why we had a good football team is because at that time, Spanish River had a piece of Del Rey, and there was a lot of black people who lived in Del Rey, so they brought them over. But once they redistrict and we lost, you know, a lot of the people in Del Rey, now that football team I heard is like one of the worst football teams because it's just a bunch of preppy Boca rich kids who really, you know what I'm saying,
we want to win. Bring the black kids in.
That's what they were literally doing that at one point. And, you know, it's just crazy. So I grew up with a lot of those people. But what I'm saying, back to talking out against Israel online in the mainstream media, it's not cool to talk out against Israel. Like I said, a lot of our lawmakers have dual citizenship with America and Israel.
Right.
So if they are providing the weapons where they've killed over 35,000 people, mostly civilians, mostly women and children.
Wow.
We need to voice our opinions, but you got to be careful in this business about it. There's so many things that are so much deeper. But seeing Kyrie do it, that's why I said Kyrie standing up. I love what Kyrie did. He refused to get the vaccine, and that was his choice. And we got to respect people's choice.
Yeah, freedom of speech, freedom of
whatever you do, respect the decisions. So I got to watch the video with Kat. But let's play this next video. What do you got, Cheese Slice?
All this is just a tweet from 50 Cent.
Okay, what is it?
It's just from when Diddy's house got raided, I think.
Is it 50 cents or 50 cents?
50 cents.
No, it's the 50 cents.
I thought it was 50.
It's 50 cents.
50 cent. Okay.
It's not 50 cents. It's 50
it's
cents.
50.
Somebody made fun of me for saying 50 cents once before, so I've been saying 50 cents ever since.
No, it's 50 cent. Like just 1 cent. Like.
Oh, that's a good point. It is cent. Yeah, that's true. I've always said cents.
So what has he got there? You don't have a video of him talking about Diddy?
I couldn't find it, but
you couldn't find it, guys.
Well, I mean, I could find articles on it, but I couldn't find the actual video.
CRD is it Carcord or Carcard? You says possibly from the same area as you, Boca or New York? Who knows? Diddy's Los Angeles, Miami, and New York homes rated. It was three places.
All three.
Keyshawn Taylor, baby, love you, Keyshawn. Got to get you on the show. Rated at the same time.
Yeah.
And Keyshawn made a point to say, you know how much coordination and money's got to go into that? This is deep.
Yeah.
This is big. Does the Illuminati want P. Diddy or Puff Daddy or Sean Combs gone? What do they want out of him? What protections does Sean Combs have? How does this equate to Epstein? These are questions that need to be talked about and answers. And once we learn them, what does it mean about our life, our actual existence? This is dude from the show called The Duran. The Duran talks about a lot of foreign policy stuff. Talks about the war in Ukraine and Russia. Talks about what's going on in Great Britain. Talks about what's going on in Europe. One of the hosts this was his specialty. Alex Christoforou, his name is. I believe he's from Cyprus. He's an American dude. But he once said, and this is what me and my old partner disagree with, like, this is everything. This is the big thing. When you talk about Epstein, this is the meaning of life. Right. This is our existence. We've been fed an illusion. We've been fed a bill of fake goods. And these people that are running shit are so fucking evil that they're using children as currency. There's a real child trafficking situation going on. How deep does it go? Because it goes deep into these same people with the Epsteins and the Clintons. They were attached to the hip. This is the man who was the president of the United States that's been on Epstein Island how many times? You know what I'm saying? That hung out with this dude. What does that mean for the laws he made? We talked about a show, what this motherfucker Clinton did in Haiti, how he destabilized it. You know, and I talk about all these things, but when you think about this, and the guy from the Duran said, it's the meaning of life. And my business partner was like, no, there's more important issues than this. This is just another issue. And I was like, well, this issue kind of sits at the top of everything because these are the masters of the universe running shit.
Right.
I don't know what that actually means.
No. You got to hit the nail on the head. It's just at this point, but you have to think about it, bro. These are secret parties and secret sides. This goes back to even slavery time. It's been like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's not gonna stop. Think about it. If something is
what you're saying, do we just coexist and don't?
No. Now,
take it head on.
No. What I'm saying is, like, back then, you couldn't do anything about it. There was no freedom of speech, with slavery and all of that.
Yeah.
But now that people are actually learning and educating themselves, like, oh, I can actually do something. Yeah. There's new laws that are put in place to actually get these people taken over. So
this is something we were sold. This is Bob of Atlantis, right? So Bob of Atlantis made a comment. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so used to seeing the FBI raid good people's homes to make a political point. I'm so used to coordinated smear campaigns against people like Russell Brand. They're only after him if he'll turn. And that's the thing. Russell Brand was speaking some truths. The point in which Russell Brand, I believe, crossed the oligarchs or the ruling class or the Illuminati or the globalist line, whatever you want to call it, the secret society. When he crossed that line, he was on Bill Maher, and he was getting a predominantly Democratic, leftist kind of establishment-believing crowd audience to applaud the media being fake and being propaganda, right?
Right.
Like, there was this guy who was on the show, the Duran, we talked about the other day, and he was saying, well, the reason why they're going after these frivolous lawsuits right now against Donald Trump, right, where it's the first time ever we see political opponents getting attacked with frivolous ways. In other words, Donald Trump got charged for something, the same thing that Joe Biden did, which was taking secret documents home that he wasn't allowed to do.
Right.
Classified documents somewhere. Donald Trump and Joe Biden both did the same fucking crime, yet Joe Biden's not getting charged for it. They said they're not going to charge him, but Donald Trump is, right?
Yeah, because who's the current president? That's who's going to
Joe Biden was. I mean, he did it when he was the vice president, when he didn't have a right to declassify things. Donald Trump had a right to declassify things and stuff. But what I'm saying is that they're saying that because the media is let them go so far, it is not holding these people accountable. No, the media is part of the whole apparatus that's controlling us. Like, they're not you don't get the news from the news. In this newspaper, you don't get the news. You get the propaganda. You get what they want you to think, not what really happened. That's how society is out there. Russell Brand pushed back against that in an audience, and they applauded him. So therefore, they had to, now they have to start attacking him for sexual allegations because he's getting out of hand. That's what he did, and that's what that person alluded to. And the FBI is no longer about, it never really was, but it's not about going after the bad guy. It's about attacking political opponents or people who will speak out because it endangers their control mechanism. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I said it's basically protecting an asset because they via a threat. You know what I mean? So when Russell Brand becomes a threat, of course they have to do something about it. So it's an illusion and it's propaganda, but once again, it goes to the hierarchy of even though, right, they say, I was just saying that there's no bad publicity. And it's the same thing with the higher ups. You got to think that they can capitalize on these distractions financially, build more money, get more corporation, better funding, because in conspiracy theories, they love those because people will feed into it and buy it. And
which one's conspiracy truth?
Exactly.
Right,
And as long as you never know that, then that's pretty much
why
what
they're trying to dilute it. Yeah,
exactly.
But you did say something earlier in the show I want to point out as we're starting to wrap this up. Pitchforks, right?
Right. Yeah.
They got to be careful of the pitchforks.
Yeah.
There was some time when they said there was movement within our government is when the government was afraid of the people. FDR wrote a letter to his brother saying, we got to give up some of our cash here and some of our resources. Otherwise, they're coming with the pitchforks.
Yeah.
During the Iraq war, we almost got a couple million people in the street to go against that. And the ruling class was scared. The only thing they were able to do is they were able to use the media and they were able to turn it into Bush's war, not America's war.
Right.
So by turning it into Bush's war, they were able to pit the people against each other, Republican, Democrat.
Yeah.
They were able to pull that off. In the very beginning, it was America's war. We're done with America doing that, but they were able to twist the turns and whatnot.
Right.
So closing out the show today, final thoughts on what's going on. First of all, let's put up King Reese's Instagram right now. We've been here for 2 hours and 45 minutes. Most of it, the first 30 minutes was us doing the video. Guys, we shared a little bit of the whatchamacallit video, the Lahaina on Fire, because in my next documentary is coming out. That was my first documentary, made 30 days after the fire. 100 days after the fire is coming out. It's very relevant to what's going on in Hawaii. The big thing that's going on in Maui, not Miami, is that FEMA was giving a lot of money to help people who were victims of the fire get a place. They're paying 3 times the normal cost. So what landlords are doing is they're evicting their current tenant right now to get the fire victim in because they make 3 times the money. But now that tenant they're throwing out, they're creating new refugees to try to replace them with the old one. It's all about greed. Right. And that's what's going on in Hawaii. So the next Hawaii video that I made talks about the housing crisis and what they're facing. So it's really going to set the table, guys. It will be out in less than 2 weeks, I believe. I'm talking to the editor right now. We're getting close. Lahaina Fire, Pasta to Go. All the links are down below. Lahaina on Fire Volume 2 coming very soon. Definitely going on. But today was the first episode of Black Pill Saturday with King Al and Reese. Mixing it up with normies or just cool ass people, real people, whatever you want to call it, the politically involved, the politically not involved. We just wanted to get to the human element. We wanted to talk about the Puff Daddy scandal. What video do you have right now, Jamie? Because I don't want to ask you out. Look like you got a video.
This is 50 Cent's talking about Diddy from a year ago.
This is it. So let's play this really quickly. We're breaking down King Al and Reese, Pasta Jardula, Jamie Cheese Slice on the 1s and 2s. We're talking about P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs, whatever you want to talk about it. Is he the Epstein character that's out there? What's going to happen? How is this going to result? How is this going to wake up people? Is this going to wake up some people out there to understand we got rulers and they rule us? All of us. Take a look. 50 Cent.
Continuously call Puff gay. Does that affect your relationships in Hollywood? I don't call him gay. I said, let me read it, Fifth. Oh my God. Sorry, I can no longer help you guys. Soon you will all be gay and happy. You are all now left under leadership of Puffy Daddy. Report to the nearest rainbow.
He says things, he doesn't even know what he's saying is like fruity. You know what I'm saying? Like, he says something fabulous and he goes, but me and you, we ain't party. Like, we need to party. What is he talking about? What is he talking about? That's going on. When people say that to me, I get a little uncomfortable. I get uncomfortable. Like he said something to me one time, a long time ago, at Chris Lighty's wedding. He told me he'd take me shopping. I looked at him like, what you just say? Let me move, man, before I do something. You're gonna make me mess up the wedding.
Oh, that's a nice gesture.
Let me get out. No, dude, take me. That's what a guy says to a girl.
So, listen, he didn't come out and just say like, oh, Puff is gay and whatnot. He said Puff says stupid things at times. So he really he kind of covered his own ass. Exhibit did one. Somebody's like, I ain't saying nothing about Puffy. Big up to Puffy. That's it. Get off the subject. He don't want to talk about it. Pull up too as well while King Reese is giving his comments. Pull up the Usher Howard Stern video about Puff Daddy, Jamie. Go ahead. Talk about this one, 50 Cent right here. Or 50 Cent.
to be honest with you, you got to think about it deeper on a broader scope. If the man has been doing, questionable things for a long time, and he sees nothing wrong because he was molded, he was created to be
programmed. Yeah, molded is the good word.
You got to think, if he's molded that way and he is running with this secret society, this is what they do all day long, and it's normal. But when you get somebody that doesn't come from that grew up in the street and had to hustle for everything, and you say that to him, it's not gonna be the same. You're not gonna get the same reaction, as somebody from the.
But I'm saying, did he really? My question is this, King. Did he really out him there? Did he expose him like as being part of the Epstein's kind of like character, or is it more just like he kind of covered his ass and said, the main message I got out of that was that not that Puff's gay and is going to have these parties and drug people, and the holiest thing can be protected the way Cat said it, right? Because that could be Cat kind of elaborating. It's just where 50 Cent said, he's just corny. But the thing makes me see 50 Cent sign with Death Row, right? Or Interscope or Aftermath. Yeah. Sorry, Dre's album. He signed with Aftermath. He didn't sign with Puff Daddy. He signed with the West Coast label.
Right.
And that's the stuff that makes me go, man,
50 is good at holding. Yeah, 50 is good at holding information. Just like Cat. There's things you can say to not piss off the hierarchy that you can still say to be controversial. You got to think about that. So right there, I think 50 talking about Puffy, he's literally telling you with the Instagram post, we leave you under the leadership of Puff Daddy. Report to the nearest rainbow. So it's an underlying message. What do you think that message is? You know what I mean? He's not going to out him on national.
Well, you got another video, Jamie Cheese Slice?
Yeah, this is Howard Stern that you asked for. With
this is Usher. Now, this is the stuff 14 years old.
I moved to New York City, and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp.
Yeah, that's what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
in the 90s. Do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I mean, but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
Well, man.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place. And I didn't necessarily understand it.
Biggie Smalls was there.
Biggie Smalls was there. Lil' Kim, Craig Mack.
All these people are hanging around.
Yeah, man. Faith Evans. Jodeci, Mary J. Blige, they didn't know nothing about this shit. I was having a good time. You know what I mean?
Does he have you doing any chores? Are you doing dishes at all? I mean, to keep you humble.
So I want to stop this because it's Howard Stern, and it's
all right. Yeah. That's
so we should talk.
Get him off the screen. You're right. They'll take the video down. We're gonna listen after this video, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna take it down off YouTube. You can go to the Rumble. So King, work for you to do. Let's put up King's address on his Instagram, guys. Guys, go to his Instagram. Check out it. Instagram. Put his address up there. Cheese Slice. Jamie, Jamie. Thank you, Jamie. King, if you will, people go to his Instagram, and if you can give like a little recap too on your Instagram about what you thought of not just the whole session today, but what we got out of it and what's going to happen down the road. So people go to his Instagram. Will you be willing to do a little update, little video, and just put it up there? And we'll put the link to the Rumble in that where people can watch the whole video. Right. We'll start that whole process, but we're going to have King Reese later on as he can kind of step back and a little dissect and go over his mind. But please, right now, everybody go to his Instagram. Give us your final thoughts on what you think is going to happen to Puff Daddy, and more importantly, what effect it's going to have on the mainstream society.
We're going to see total chaos. It's going to leak so much information about so many people. It's kind of like what people have been trying to do outing. Puffy's going to do that on his own, and we're going to be surprised about all the people that he's going to name drop.
How is that going to affect the everyday people out there? Like, because in other words, more people in the mainstream are plugged into this than they were in than Epstein. Like Epstein was like an anomaly. Like, who the fuck is this guy? Oh my God, he's been doing this for so long. He's been busted. He knows this. He's related to that person. He was tied in with Bill Gates. Like Bill Gates gave fucking Epstein money. People don't know, and it's like crazy. And it's dark, and you got to dive into it. Like I told you this statement that in New Mexico, he was practicing transhumanism. He had a bunch of girls and a ton of money that he was keeping pregnant and whatnot. Transhumanism is the merger of like humans and AI. He was doing studies and testing with that. But Bill Gates, who had a lot of money in the vaccine, got money from Jeffrey Epstein. So when you start tying these things together, it's different. But Puff was part of the entertainment industry. Puff was part of mainstream. How is that going to affect and awaken like people you know back home in Texas, people you know back home in Compton or Tennessee, people in the mainstream who are not necessarily into politics, but now they see this go on and they start diving deep. How do you think this is going to affect people's livelihood and the way they think every day and what their everyday lives mean?
I think it's going to affect them to a broader scale of thinking. It's going to make them more kind of curious. But see, it's not bad for the opposition either, because you got to think with people knowing that it's out there, more people, it's going to do one of two. It's going to divide people. One, it's going to make people think, okay, well, I'm interested in doing that and trying to get up to a hierarchy of what this is going to be like, and I'll sacrifice things. But then it's also people that are going to try to take matters into their own hands. The honest, real change here is you're going to have to pick up a pitchfork, and we're going to have to start rioting in the streets.
Guys, go to Instagram, King AR2 Real. Check it out. He's going to give a little breakdown, one little 2-minute video. Just do it, film yourself, and whatnot. People subscribe. I will give you the link. You can share the link to the whole video. We want people to go back out there and whatnot. King, thank you so much for coming on today, man. I appreciate it. I hope you had fun, man.
Bro, it was a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure.